Hi everyone, my name is David Kelly. I'm the Program Director for the eLearning Guild, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to another Twist Conversation. Today I'm pleased to be welcoming Shawn Rosler from Geisinger Health Systems. Welcome, Shawn.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. I know I wanted to talk with you today to have a conversation about professional development and how it's something that I'm passionate about. I know you're passionate about it as well. A couple of questions I wanted to ask you about that. Can you tell me a little bit about why professional development is so important to you, and some of the aspects of professional development for your own professional development that you do that are important to you? And I'm
Sure.
sorry if you can introduce yourself to our audience while you do that.
Absolutely. Again, name's Shawn Rosler, lead analyst, project manager, jack of all trades, Geisinger Health Systems. But specifically, what I do on a day-to-day basis is manage, develop, design, and produce e-learning centered around our electronic health record. All aspects thereof used to be small, now it's big. You know how that goes. So to look at the first question you asked me, why is professional development so important? And I think it's one of those items that, so as we progress in our careers, our plate gets ever fuller or stays really full regardless. And I think it's all too easy sometimes to forget to take care of ourselves. The analogy I actually used, I forget who it was I was discussing it with, but I said a lot of times it's like when you first become a parent and you go all into the kid and you forget your sense of self. And I think too often professionally we can forget our sense of self and our sense of taking care of ourselves. And so professional development to me is all about like going to the professional version of the gym. You know, if you don't work out, you get unhealthy. And I think if you don't work out professionally, you can become unhealthy in a way. Hopefully that analogy didn't overstay its visit, but that's the way I look at it. To me, that's why it's so crucial to me. I think if you're not involved in items like that, you stagnate, and so there's so many angles of it. And so to address part two of the question, what aspects of professional development are important? First and foremost, without a shadow of a doubt, is the adage that misery loves company. Now, I'm not saying anybody's miserable. I promise you I'm not miserable. If my boss is watching, I'm not miserable. I love what I do, I swear. But misery loves company. And so by that, I mean when we can actually be around people who you can bump elbows with and go, hey, this happened to me. Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. All of a sudden, you're in a room of 50 people, and your odds have become exponentially better of somebody in that room not only having been through what you've been through, but possibly having a solution or at least a first step. And maybe if someone has a first step, someone else has another step. So for me, one of the greatest, highest benefits of professional development is simply the socialization angle, the colleagues that you meet and take away. Secondary to that, then would have to be, this is pretty much the softball answer, the knowledge that you take away from the presentations. I think that's the one that everybody goes to the conferences with that in mind. Hey, what are you going to learn? That's what we have to put in our proposal when we go. Oh, here's the sessions I plan on attending and the knowledge I hope to bring back. But it's really important. It's absolutely 1,000% important to get that. And third, just because things work well in threes, I think it's just the deflate time. And I don't want to make light of conferences because they're not light, but they are. They give you a chance to breathe. And it's so you're in these sessions during the day, and that's really cool and beneficial, and the social and the knowledge and everything. But sometimes just sitting down and having a bite to eat or a drink with somebody, you can take so much more, or you at least get this like extra frosting on the cupcake by doing that, by the casual. So both the casual and the formal experience, as well as the social, comes together for what I perceive to be the top three benefits of professional development.
Excellent. And I know for myself, what you're describing resonates a lot with my experience. And I know for myself, the organizations that I've worked in, we had professional development in the organizations, but it was all in this interior of the organization. That you had resources that were inside the organization, and everyone was just within this silo. And the ability to connect outside of that silo was where, for me, my professional development kind of exploded. When I realized that we're not just doing what we do because it's what we've always done. There's this whole other world that I could connect to, whether it be through membership through organizations, whether it be through social media, or any other method. And I'm curious from your standpoint, how you've seen that. Where have you seen benefits through the membership? I know you talk about the community and you talk about the conferences, but it goes beyond just the conferences, that there's this entire community of people that you can connect with really whenever you need them. And I know that we operate in some same spaces there. Can you tell me a little bit about how you connect with the community through these different portals?
I can tell you absolutely one that I actually had to utilize in the past month, maybe 2 months. But so socially, connecting on social media is just a great venue to begin with. But the accessibility becomes amazing. And the example that I'll give you is that recently our health system has become very interested in mobile in a motion called Geisinger in Motion, and so it's looking to mobile capacities. And this is awesome. But we've been working with Captivate 5.5, and if you've ever tried to push mobile out of 5.5, it's possible. But so I immediately suggested, hey, Cap 8 just came out, and the reason why I knew it, it's not from an Adobe email, it's from Joe Ganchi, it's from Sarah, I saw their posts on Facebook, and then I saw the Adobe video with them interviewed on it, and I thought, wow, that's really important. And I think the order by which I discovered that is important. I discovered it through Joe and Sarah first, then through Adobe. And so it's only through knowing these people that I was able to reach out and say, hey, could you give me just an idea? Do you think this is a good purchase to make now? Should we wait? Messages a mile long. Great conversation back and forth. And I felt strong. I'm like, okay, let's request the software. Sure enough, software got ordered, got brought in instantly. And I really have those two to thank for the information. So that's definitely one in very recent history. And over the course of time, any time that we get into debates about assessments and about surveys and about pushing versus pulling e-learning. Jane Bozarth, another colleague who I reach out to quite consistently, both via social media, via text, and I just find that through that socialization, you make these connections. And unlike a lot of other types of conferences I've been to, I think because we're so steeped in social media, we use it. And we use it well, and we use it effectively.
That's excellent. And I know that you touched on it from the organizational standpoint, that there are great values to not only an individual for their growth and taking control of their own career, but also to the organization. I know for myself, social media quite often, and the community that I connect with through the guild and through other spaces, they're often where I go before I even go to Google. That I will go to, because they have that context of what I'm looking for and the world that I live in, and that community, to be able to find that is just such a huge resource for my professional development. But can you tell me a little bit more? That was a great example that you used with Captivate 8, and going from 5.5 to 8, by the way, nice jump. But so can you talk to me a little bit more about any other examples that you can share about how this idea of professional development, which we tend to think of as a personal thing, can help organizations grow?
Yeah, absolutely. The power of social in general, but the power of computer-based training. I mean, this is going to be a real vast example here. But in about 2005 is when I started with Geisinger, and back then it was all very classroom, very PowerPoint, very everyone had to be there. And so I started with this humble idea because I had a master's degree in instructional technologies. Hey, what if we, use computer-based training to help fix this? And it worked, but it wasn't great. And I truly believe that I have my experiences starting in 2009 was the first one I went to through, present day I'm at a Google Hangout with Dave Kelly, so clearly still involved with the e-learning guild, but the product really started to evolve because of the nuggets that I started to bring back. And admittedly, early on, I kind of took everything on my back, and everything, electronic health record e-learning was me, and the product was very vanilla, was very rigid, was very stiff, and there were improvements that could be made. And about 2009, I met a gentleman by the name of Omar Nielsen, and he quipped a quote that has resonated with me forever and has changed my professional focus on things, and it is, "We are smarter than me." And I realized that, yeah, I had this great idea, and yeah, I had this great education, but I was one person essentially in my own silo. I had built a silo in and around myself and was basically hermit on the mountain. I wasn't, I knew what had to be done. Everyone had to listen to me, and it didn't work. It really didn't. And when I embraced that, and when I started keying in more to professionally developing my social learning angle within myself as well as within the organization, the product blossomed. We went from one application to 10, and from, I don't know, I'd say about 100 to 125 modules to now we just created 39 modules in 3 weeks. But it's because of a new process, and it's because of things that I've gleaned over the course of time. And I really do think it all started with that small, simple, beautiful, awesome quip, "We are smarter than me." And it encouraged me to reach out beyond myself. And that's something, I still work to do in my professional day-to-day.
That's excellent. And I know what resonates with me a lot, I'm sure resonates with a lot of people as they were listening to the story, is that aha moments that many of us who are passionate about our professional development, are passionate about the organizations and the communities that we connect with, have that aha moment where you suddenly realize this much wider space in this larger world that you can be a part of and contribute to and grow through. And I know that that's in many ways the story that you're going to be sharing during your session at DevLearn, a very personal story about how you came, what you've done, and how you've come through that aha moment to get to the point that you are today, to help other people understand how they can do this for themselves. So if I'm going to be at DevLearn this fall in October, and I'm going to be coming to your session, can you give me an idea, just a snapshot of what that session is going to be like and the story that you're going to share with people?
Sure. The bottom line, and the reason why I really second-guessed myself about 100 different times about this actually being a presentation, was that it didn't deal with technology, it didn't deal with a solution, it dealt with this very soft item. And yet, I think I just had a conversation. I'm awkwardly looking to my right because my 2 work monitors are here. I just had a discussion this very morning with the program director I'm working with about giving praise for a job well done and how important that is. And in that moment, and I realized we had our interview set up, I thought, wow, you know what? The softer things are really important. And so professional development, it's not a software, it's not a technology, it's not a hard fix for something, but it is really, really crucial to maintaining occupational vitality. There, OV, I've just termed a new term here. So what are you going to get? Clearly you're going to get somebody who speaks with his hands a lot and speaks very quickly and is very passionate about what he does. What you're going to hear when you come, if you come, I hope you do, I'd be lonely if you didn't. If you come to listen, you're going to learn here about my case study, essentially what happened to me, how did I get from square one to square two, and everything that happened in between. Very concise, but about my aha moment, as Dave mentioned. It's important, and I think I hope we all at one point have that aha moment. So I'm going to tell you about mine, and when it really rang true that this is not only important, but crucial. And we're going to look at the multiple benefits, and there are multiple, of professional development, the multiple benefits of reaching beyond yourself, the multiple benefits of, to quote Jane Bozarth, sharing your work, sharing what you do. And it's all important, and it's when we can do that together in a professional setting, via professional development, and membership in an organization, that we really can begin to flourish at what we do. And we can actually begin to love what we do. You might not even like what you do right now, but if you begin to develop, you can grow to like it, and you can grow to love it. And so I think in a nutshell, that's what we're going to look at.
Excellent. And one of the reasons that I was excited to add it to the program this year is I think it very much resonates with the conference experience, especially for people, I know myself, when I first started going to conferences, the first conference that I went to, you kind of went, and like you were excited about it. You went to the conference, you were there for 3 days, you gained a lot, and then you left, and it was an amazing 3 days. But it was 3 days, and there wasn't any extension beforehand or extension beyond. And it's when you start really participating in the community and connecting to the community that the conference becomes a really intense 3-day period of something that goes on all year. And it's those relationships, and it's only through these aha moments that you start to really connect with that. So it's a really powerful conversation that I think you're going to be leading, that I hope a lot of people come and hear, because it changes your life when you get to that point and you realize that you can connect to these communities and the benefit that it has for you and the organizations you work for. It's hugely powerful. So I'm really excited to be having that on the program this year.
You made an excellent point. This presentation originated from blog comments from you, from everybody who I've mentioned before, a handful of others. That's how this began. I live blog every conference I attend. I find I retain better. And I guess my recap really captured kind of the hearts and minds of who I consider to be the icons in the industry, you included. And the comments really kind of made me go, wow, this is super important. This isn't just important, it's super important. So it goes.
It's gonna be I'm really excited to have it on the program. It's going to be a great session. If you want to learn more about the session that Shawn's going to be doing, or more about any of the topics that are going to be discussed at DevLearn this fall, I encourage you to visit our website, devlearn14.com. The DevLearn Conference and Expo takes place October 29th through 31st in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Bellagio Hotel. We've got Neil deGrasse Tyson headlining a great keynote lineup, over 100 different sessions from leaders in our field, and a number of great conversations. Again, visit devlearn14.com for more information or to register today. Shawn, I want to thank you so much for discussing professional development and membership with me today.
You got it, Dave. Thanks.
And I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Twist Conversations or at DevLearn this October. Take care, everybody.